Now, I guess I understand why daylight saving time came to be. And I should be happy because I get to stay on the golf course a little longer in the afternoon. But on the downside, I get up in the dark and wait, sometimes patiently, for enough sunlight so the dogs can do their morning walk, the best part of their day. And of course, the newspapers that used to come at 5:30 now come much later. It is all very unsettling. If you check in with the wiki folks, you'll learn more about the history of daylight saving time than you probably want to know. There were several comments I found entertaining. Some in 1984. Fortune magazine estimated that a 7-week extension of daylight saving time would yield an additional $30 million for 7-Eleven stores. And the National Golf Foundation estimated the extension would increase golf industry revenues $200 to $300 million. Interesting. But over the years, all aspects of daylight life have been examined, so we really do know what happens. In the final analysis, the give and take of the political process has resulted in different decisions across the planet. Some nations use it and others do not. Here we have chosen to spring forward and fall back. Now, the wiki folks organized their discussion of daylight saving time so that its long history is exposed, and I liked the politics section. Seems the prominent English builder, outdoorsman, and avid golfer William Willett proposed daylight saving time in 1905 in England. He disliked cutting his round of golf short at dusk. Eventually, his proposal got to Parliament for discussion, but just like the Rhode Island way of governing, it didn't get out of committee. But the ball was rolling, and eventually the argument for daylight saving time won out. Then the 1970s saw daylight saving time widely adopted here and in Europe as a result of the energy crisis. Actually, the wide world has not adopted a uniform system, so if you are an international traveler, good luck. Now, I wonder if our very smart phones know when they cross time zones and what each time zone has done with daylight saving time. Now, that's more than I need to know right now with no traveling in my immediate future. On the immediate impact of daylight saving time at my house, besides the dogs and the papers, it's the clocks. We have all sorts of clocks scattered around the house. Over the last 46 years of wedded bliss, my wife and I have acquired a vast assortment of timepieces. Ever since I put all my wristwatches in the drawer, I have relied on the casual glance throughout the house to gauge the time. I really like to be on time, so I'm always looking around for the time of day. Our dining room, still have one, has a lovely wind-up clock made by the New England Clock Company. Now, we bought it very early in our marriage. I only wind it up occasionally when someone is coming to eat at the dining room table. That room also has a very pretty and expensive Howard Miller clock. We bought that one for my son when he got married. Some years later, I found it stored in his basement, and I reclaimed it. Didn't match the decorum of their house. We have 2 clocks in the living room, one made by my youngest in the woodworking class at Portsmouth High School. The other was a needlepoint clock lovingly crafted by my mother-in-law. Now, we will always have those clocks. The family room has 2 clocks, one on the wall and one on the fireplace mantel. The mantel clock was made by my father-in-law. Both of these clocks in that room run on batteries. So in the spring, I pull them down and adjust the time. But you know, when something sits around for a long time, it and everything around it are dirty, so they have to be cleaned. And maybe I need to put a new battery in. The kitchen has a wall clock, the stove clock, the microwave clock, and the Bose Wave radio clock. All of them need 2 annual adjustments. The finished basement has 2 battery wall clocks and a Bailey, Banks, and Biddle wind-up chimer that also doesn't get wound up very often. Now, the 4 bedrooms in the house all have nightstand clocks, all 4 having different settings and systems to move the time around. So the grand total of timepieces is, at my house, 18. 16 of them need to be adjusted. Short of being an actual collector of clocks, and there are many of those folks in America, I think we must be pretty far ahead of the average American home for clocks needing time adjustments. I would actually vote to get rid of daylight saving time. Thank you for watching, and God bless.
Find us on Cox Channel 15 or Verizon Channel 34, Saturdays at 4 p.m. and Sundays at 10 a.m. Find us on the web at www.gatsbyproject.com/commonsenseri. You can also find us on Facebook as Common Sense of Rhode Island and on Twitter at &CommonSenseRI.